Genesis chapter 14 unveils a breathtaking drama of war, loyalty, divine intervention, and a foreshadowing of eternal truths that ripple across human history. It begins with a landscape torn by conflict. 4 kings wage war against 5 in the valley of Siddim, a place that would become symbolic of both destruction and deliverance. This chapter is more than an ancient record of geopolitical tension. It is a divine tapestry, woven with threads of courage, faith, and supernatural rescue. It demands our attention not simply as a history lesson, but as a mirror to our present struggles and a call to arms for the battles we face today in our own lives. The kings of Shinar, Elasar, Elam, and Goyim, formidable powers of their time, converged to suppress a rebellion led by the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Bela. For 12 years these cities had served Chedorlaomer, king of Elam. But in the 13th year, they rebelled. That rebellion sparked a campaign that ravaged the region. The mighty coalition swept through the land, defeating all who stood in their way. This was not merely a clash of armies but a tide of darkness threatening to consume everything in its path. And in the wake of this devastation, Lot, Abram's nephew, was caught in the crossfire. He had chosen the lush lands near Sodom, thinking only of prosperity and comfort. But what seemed fruitful became his downfall. The invaders seized Lot, his possessions, and his people. They were dragged away into captivity. This moment becomes a striking reminder that choosing comfort over conviction, luxury over loyalty, often brings unforeseen bondage. Lot's choice to dwell near Sodom wasn't just a geographic decision. It was a spiritual compromise. And it cost him dearly. When Abram heard the news, he did not hesitate. This patriarch of faith, a man called from Ur to an unknown land by a divine voice, could have remained indifferent. He could have reasoned that Lot had made his bed and must now lie in it. But Abram was no ordinary man. His heart burned with righteous loyalty and divine justice. He armed 318 trained servants born in his household and pursued the captors all the way to Dan. Imagine that scene, a small group, vastly outnumbered, chasing a coalition of kings and armies. This is not the picture of common courage. This is supernatural bravery. This is what it looks like when heaven backs a righteous cause. The night raid Abram launched against the enemy was swift and strategic. He divided his forces and struck in the darkness. There was no room for delay. There was no guarantee of success. Yet his faith was louder than fear. And the result was astonishing. Lot and all his possessions were recovered. Not one life lost. Not one treasure wasted. This moment is charged with divine orchestration. Abram didn't merely win a battle. He displayed what it means to walk in divine purpose, to be led not by numbers but by the call of righteousness. This victory sends a message through the corridors of time. It teaches that no enemy, no matter how powerful, can stand against a man or woman aligned with God. Fear has no foothold when faith leads the way. When you move at the prompting of heaven, even 318 is enough to shatter an empire. This is the kind of resolve that moves mountains and changes destinies. This is the kind of faith the world desperately needs. After the battle, the king of Sodom came to meet Abram in the valley of Sheva. But before any human glory could be exchanged, another figure steps into the scene, Melchizedek, king of Salem and priest of God Most High. This moment is profound. It transcends the battlefield. Melchizedek brings bread and wine and blesses Abram. He acknowledges that it was God Most High who delivered Abram's enemies into his hand. This is a sacred interruption. A priest-king, shrouded in mystery, offering communion and blessing. He appears without lineage, without history, yet bearing the authority of heaven. And Abram, the great warrior, responds not with pride but with humility. He gives Melchizedek a tenth of everything. This tithe is not a tax. It is an act of worship. Abram recognizes that his victory was not by his sword but by God's hand. He acknowledges that without divine favor, his campaign would have failed. In this ancient exchange, a picture is painted, one that points forward to a greater priest, a greater king, who would one day offer his body and blood for the redemption of mankind. Melchizedek becomes a shadow of Christ, a silent herald of the eternal priesthood. Then the king of Sodom offers Abram the spoils of war. Take the goods, he says, but give me the people. It's a tempting proposition, wealth beyond measure, a reward for valor. But Abram refuses. With unwavering resolve, he declares that he will take nothing. Not even a thread or a sandal strap. He will not allow the king of Sodom to say, I made Abram rich. He chooses purity over profit, integrity over indulgence. In a world that often sells its soul for gain, Abram stands as a blazing testimony of honor. His allegiance is not for sale. His faith is not up for negotiation. This moment convicts the modern heart. How often do we compromise for the applause of men, for financial gain, for social acceptance? Abram's stand echoes through time, calling every believer to examine their motives. Are we building platforms or altars? Are we living for the eternal or for the immediate? The urgency is real. The time is short. We must decide what we stand for, because the battles are already upon us. This chapter, though only 24 verses long, is a whirlwind of emotion and revelation. It stirs fear, not fear of men or kings, but a holy fear. A reverence for the God who fights for his people. It sparks excitement, because it shows that divine intervention is not a myth but a promise. And it ignites urgency, because the battles of life will not wait. They demand our readiness, our loyalty, our faith. Abram's story is not locked in the past. It is your story. It is the story of every soul facing overwhelming odds, every family member trying to rescue a loved one, every individual standing between compromise and conviction. It's the story of anyone who's ever asked if they're strong enough to do what's right. The answer lies not in our strength but in our surrender. Abram's power came from his position in God's will, and that power is available today. Imagine for a moment if Abram had hesitated. If fear had silenced his pursuit. If greed had corrupted his integrity. How different the story would be. How much would have been lost. But because he acted, because he believed, generations were changed. Blessings were preserved. Legacy was secured. The path to Christ was kept alive. Every decision we make carries weight. Every battle we fight echoes into eternity. You are not just a number. You are not just surviving. You are chosen, positioned, and empowered for a divine purpose. There are lots in your life that need rescue. There are Melchizedeks waiting to bless you. There are kings of Sodom tempting your loyalty. And your choices will determine the course of your destiny. This is not the time to be passive. This is not the time to wait for someone else to fight your battles. You were born for such a time as this. You have a role to play in the divine narrative. Whether you lead 318 or stand alone, heaven watches and waits for your response. The enemy may appear strong, but he is no match for a soul aligned with the Most High God. Lift your eyes beyond the battlefield. See the hand of God moving behind the scenes. Feel the pulse of eternity beating within your chest. The same God who empowered Abram is ready to empower you. The same Spirit that led him into victory wants to lead you into yours. The story is not over. The war is not finished. And your chapter is still being written. If this message has stirred something in you, if you've felt the call to rise, to fight, to believe, then don't let it pass. Embrace the urgency. Let the fear drive you to faith. Let the excitement fuel your obedience. Let the truth pierce your heart. You are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are part of a kingdom that cannot be shaken. And as we reflect on the courage of Abram, the mystery of Melchizedek, and the faithfulness of God, may we be inspired to live with the same passion, the same purpose, and the same unwavering trust. The time is now. The call is clear. The battle is the Lord's. But he chooses to fight through those who are willing. Thank you for watching this journey through Genesis chapter 14. If this message touched your heart, if it awakened something deep within you, then we invite you to continue growing with us. This is just the beginning. There are deeper truths to uncover, greater battles to fight, and more victories to witness. Please subscribe to our channel, Shining Truths, for more powerful revelations and inspiring content. Join us as we continue to explore the Word of God, uncover its eternal treasures, and walk together in the light of divine truth. Until next time, stay strong, stay faithful, and keep shining.